Okay, welcome to the 0 to 60 challenge, officially week 3. Thank you guys that are joining here on the live stream. I've got Johnny and Truman in the gazebo office right now. I think Nathan and Jared will be joining us. Johnny, maybe text them and have them let you know. I got to probably let them in the back office or whatever, or into the Zoom or the live stream. So thank you guys for being here. It's awesome to be doing this again this week. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, so we're pretty excited about getting going here. And let me just go ahead and there we go. Put your name and city in the chat if you're joining right now, guys, live with us. We're going to try to pay attention to the chats and participate with you as we go through this today. And again, like I said, we do have a lot to cover, so let's jump right into this. I'm going to do a quick overview. I did this again last week. If this is your first time joining, let me give you kind of an overview of what we're doing here. So we're calling this the 0 to 60 challenge. Our goal here is to get to 60,000 in wholesaling. Hopefully we can as soon as possible. The dream would be, in under 6 months. And it's really going from zero. So we're going to start with a very structured daily plan. We're going to talk about it here in a second. And again, we're going to try to do this in 6 months or less. The purpose is to gain the foundational skills and the experience necessary to go on and build a sustainable and profitable 6 and even 7-figure flipping business. So everything that we're doing is very strategic so that you can gain some very important skills to go on and continue doing this. Right? It's one thing to wholesale a house. It's another thing to build a business that wholesales houses. And so we want to keep that at the forefront. Did someone just join? Do you know? Let's see. That usually means, yeah, there's some people that want in. Let me see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let Jared in and Nate in. Jared and Nate, how are you guys?
Doing good.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, guys. We just got started a second ago, so I'm going to go through an overview real quick, and then we'll jump into some stuff specific with you guys. So, guys, if you're new to wholesaling, if you have zero capital to invest to get started, but you are committed to put in the time, energy, and effort, this is for you. It is going to take a very big time commitment, at least 4 hours a day. And the way that's broken up is you want to spend about 30 minutes a day doing a book assignment. The book we're doing is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I want to talk about that a little bit today when we get started. The assignment with that book is to write down the 17 wealth files and also the principles and declarations that the author talks about in that book. Then you're also going to do about 30 minutes a day of improving your real estate skills, which basically is watching Jerry YouTube videos. And on the PDF that you guys have, I put that in the chat. I've got lots of links to videos specifically to the stuff you're working on right now. So be watching those videos. It's going to really give you a more in-depth understanding of what we're doing. And then you got to do about 3 hours a day of prospecting where you're on the phones. And it takes very much every bit of those 3 hours, maybe even a little bit more, because to hit your metrics, I'm going to be providing support throughout this, but we want to hit some very specific metrics. And here they are: 5 offers a day, doing the sniper method. That's where you call a specific listing and make an offer on a distressed property. 10 cold calls. We call that the shotgun method. These are just calling agents on any agent with, they don't even have to have a listing, just cold calling an agent, asking if they have any deals. And then 10 follow-ups a day. Now, this is a lot. I know you guys have been struggling to keep this consistently every single day, or at least 5 days a week, as an average. If you miss some of these, you could do them on Saturday and Sunday, but we really want to be hitting these metrics Monday through Friday, 5-6 days a week. The goal there is then to get a deal, a contract on a purchase in 30 days or less. So, and I think we've gotten close with a couple of you guys. We're going to be talking about it today. And you've got some tools here: PropWire, Redfin Fixer Upper, and Data Cruncher. Hope you guys are using all of those tools. Again, in that PDF, I've got links to get all of that. Let me go ahead and put some of these up right now. So, like, here's the Data Cruncher. You just go to mydatacruncher.com to get that. And you also are going to need to know how to get to PropWire. So I'll put that up here as well. So here's the link to PropWire. Just go to joinpropwire.com. And then Redfin's just redfin.com. And there's a fixer-upper feature that is also explained in the PDF. You're also going to need the deal analyzer. So if you guys don't have that, be sure to get that as well. You can get that for free at mydealanalyzer.com. And one more resource that you're going to need is this one. This is the agent scripts and the offer sheet. You get that for free as well. Just go to agentofferscripts.com. And again, let me show you where you get all of this. If I go to the chat, if you guys are in the chat, I put a link in there that looks like this, 0 to 60 challenge. It's a Google Doc link, and you can grab that out of the chat right now. If you're watching this after the live, then I'll put it in the comments as well. Okay, so let's see. Then what we're going to do here is, let me turn this off. Then after you find a lead, you need to determine the offer price. I've been working with you guys throughout the week on deals that you're getting close on or counter offers from agents. And so there's been a little bit of going back and forth, looking at comps, trying to figure out, well, what's a good offer price? So the steps are, you got to open up a new deal analyzer. You got to figure out your ARV. You got to verify a rehab number and then get to an offer price. Now, last week I talked to Truman and Johnny and some of you guys, even Nathan, probably Jared as well in Tulsa. Most of you guys also need to be looking at a formula that is a rental formula, meaning you're going to wholesale it to a buy and hold investor. That's a little bit different, not a little bit different, a lot different of a formula where now instead of looking at value and ARV, you're basically looking at rent and cash flow because that's what they're going to look at. So we come to a number based on a 1% rent rule. So we'll probably talk about that a little bit more as well. And then you got to get on the phone and call the agents. There's basically three main things you do where you want to build a relationship. You want to talk to them. You want to ask them, well, tell me about the property. If I fix this up, how much do you think it will cost? And what do you think I can sell this for on the back end after I fix it up? That would be if you're thinking about a fix and flip. If the exit strategy is a rental, then you might say, well, what do you think it'll take to make this rent ready? Or you might say, what do you think the rents are in this market? Those are things that will really help you talk to the agent intelligently and also create conversation, also get the agent talking and sharing. Those are the main things. And then I like to do a verbal first. So I'll say something like, hey, I need to be around 95,000. Will you call the seller and give him a verbal on my cash offer? And then we can put it in writing if the seller's interested. That's a good way to get the agent to do that. Most agents won't call and won't do a written offer on a low offer, like a low ball offer. They just won't. So we don't even try to get them to do that. We try to get them to do a verbal first and then in writing. And again, most importantly, the double dip strategy. I'm unrepresented. I'll let you write the offer for me. Can you do that? That means they're going to get both sides of the commission. Then you always ask, do you have any other distressed properties I can look at and make a cash offer? Will you call me in the future if you get a distressed property? And here's the buy and hold formula. You take the monthly rent, you divide that by the 1% rule, and that's not hard and fast. Like that's in some markets, if it's a lower income market, that could be 1.5% or even 2%. Minus rehab equals minus your wholesale fee equals your buy price. And I'd love to hear from Truman, you and Johnny and Jared, if you guys, maybe Nathan, if you guys have been doing this formula at all this week. Okay, so that's kind of a quick overview. So if you're joining us for the first time, that's kind of the program. And now what we're going to do is we're going to dive in, and I want to get some specific feedback. We're going to get to some calls that you guys did. We're going to talk about some things you've been working on. But first of all, tell me, guys, how's it going with your book reading? You guys been working on that?
Let me unmute. It's been going good. I'm almost done. I think I've been listening to it. I think I have an hour left.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's some big takeaways, Jared?
I feel like everyone I meet, I can tell right away what kind of mindset about money they have, just based on how they talk about their everyday problems.
Yeah, that's so true, right? He says that in the book. He says, give me 5 minutes with somebody and I'll tell you their financial blueprint.
Yeah.
Because money's a mindset, right?
Yep.
So if you look at my screen here, these are my notes from writing this. Like look at all my notes I've written about this book, right? And I go over this like all the time. So let's start at the top. Wealth file number 1 is rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me, which is a victim mindset, right? So poor people choose to play the role of victim. Poor me, right? Isn't that what they say? Poor me. And if you think poor me, then you're going to track being poor.
Yeah.
And so the 3 things he talks about are blaming, which is anyone or anything but yourself, justifying or denying money's really not that important. I don't really care about money, or I don't really want money. That's a way to rationalize or make excuses of why you don't have money. And then complaining. So this is where you just complain about everything that's going wrong. And, when you complain or you blame or you justify, you literally are slitting your financial throat. Like that's what happens when you do that. So what's great though is when you learn this is you can start to catch yourself, right? Like Jared, have you caught yourself at all like doing any of these things?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's awareness. A lot of this is just awareness. Like, oh man, I didn't realize I did that, or I didn't realize I had that thought or mindset. And it gives you a chance to maybe correct some of those things. So there's some principles here. Let's just talk about these 4, and then we'll get to work on real estate. But one of the principles is you choose to think in ways that will support you in your happiness and success instead of ways that don't. That's a choice, right? The other principle is money is extremely important in the areas in which it works, and it's extremely unimportant in the areas in which it doesn't work, right? Like money has no bearing on your relationship with your wife. That's really unimportant. But in other,
like if you're a good person, then you're gonna do good with money. If you're a bad person, you're gonna do bad with money.
yes, money makes you more of what you already are.
Yeah, that's what he says in the book.
It doesn't make you good or bad. It makes you more of what you already are. So if you're a crooked person, more money is going to make you more crooked. If you're a good, honest person, more money is going to make you more good and more honest, right? Because money is neutral. It's just an expansion of you. And then when you're complaining, you become a living, breathing crap magnet. And he talks about that, right?
Yep.
And the other wealth principle is there's no such thing as a really rich victim.
Yeah, I remember that part.
But there's a payoff, right? When you're a victim, there's a payoff. You get a lot of attention, maybe you get some sympathy, but attention and sympathy do not equal love, right? It's not the same thing. And you can be a victim or you can be rich, but you can't be both. So his homework assignment in the book is for 7 days, do not complain out loud or internally. And the declaration is, I create the exact level of my financial success. Okay, so let's stop there. Each week, let's take a little time, a few minutes, and maybe talk about these. Any thoughts, Nathan, Truman, or Johnny, on any of this so far?
I liked when he talked about rich people focus on opportunities, poor people focus on obstacles. So whenever I'm like calling an agent and then they don't have anything right then, and they said maybe I'll have something in the future, instead of being like, ah, darn it, another call, I'd be like, well, maybe something will happen in the future, or hopefully they'll bring me something in the future, and try not to get mad that it didn't work out.
Yeah, it was really interesting, Johnny, when we were talking earlier. Maybe we'll pull that call up today. We were talking about one of your calls, and I told you, I said, every call you do could be that $100,000 deal. Like it could be that deal of a lifetime. And you have to go into every single call thinking that, hey, this could be the call, because it very well could. And that's often how this game works. Like I sent you guys a text about 2 of my partners, Jordan Budd, who did a $120,000 deal. And it was a takedown deal. So he bought it, relisted it, and sold it. So no rehab. It wasn't a fix and flip. It was a straight wholesale to a retail buyer. Made $120,000 net after everything, like closing fees, finance, all of it. And then the next day, Matt Spinks, my other partner, he did he closed on a $62,000. I think it was $62,000 deal. Made $62,000. So like at some point they were on the phone with a seller where they landed that deal. Now, what number call was it? Did they feel like doing that call? Was it the next one after one that was really bad? Or maybe they had like 20 no's in a row and then that one, or 100 no's in a row. Like, you see what I mean? Like, there's a home run deal for you, but it's not so much about some sort of skill set as it is about your mindset, about calls and being consistent and just getting on the phones and believing that there's another win for you right around the corner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that, Nathan? Any thoughts from you on that, on the Millionaire Mind stuff?
Yeah, mine was kind of the same as Jared's, where it was like you can kind of realize what or where people are at with their money and like their view on money, just kind of from hearing what they say about it. And oftentimes, there's this quote I like that's life comes from you, not at you. And I feel like poor people always have that mindset of like, life is coming at me, I can't help what's happening. And rich people kind of have that mindset of, it is what I make it, and I can kind of make my own success, and it's more up to me and what I do. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Good. Well, guys, I really want to encourage you to keep reading that book, keep working on those mindsets. Truman, what about you? Any big takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, reading it, like, I feel like I kind of realized the habits I have. Yeah, like poor habits, like justifying. I found myself doing that quite a bit.
Mhm.
Even, verbally to like Johnny.
Yeah.
I try to justify it. So I guess, learning about them and kind of realizing when you're doing them is important to like.
Yeah. I'll be like, I called like 10 agents, only like 3 of them answered.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to count for something. And I try to be like, nope, that doesn't. You get back to work.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like, I put in a good effort, even though it's not my fault nobody answered the phone.
Or I hit my 3 hours.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't get my quota.
Yeah, good. Well, it's awesome that you're being aware of that, because most of the time we're not even aware of it. And step number 1 to making any change is awareness. And the hardest part is to look in the mirror and self-confront. Like, that's the hardest thing we have to do, is work on ourselves and be willing to see our own flaws and then make changes is really hard to do. Okay, good. Let's jump to a couple of questions I'm seeing here. When an agent says, are you looking to work with an agent exclusively or just calling everyone? What's a good response? So the way that you respond to this, Garrett, is I say to agents, I don't work exclusively with a buyer's agent. We work with each individual listing agent on their specific property. And you cannot work with buyer's agents, otherwise it'll eliminate your ability to do the double dip.
Yeah.
And Johnny, you ran into that.
This is an issue I've been having like crazy this week, because they'll put their office number on the internet. So I call the office number and I'm like, can you wire me to this listing agent? And they're like, they're out of town, but I can take it for you.
I can help
Tell
you.
me about the agent. I'm like, I'd really like to talk to the listing agent. And they're like, they want to get that commission. So.
Yeah, they're prospecting to become your buyer's agent. Yeah. But we don't need, the reason why we don't need a buyer's agent is because we're able to find our own properties without them, because we have different tools. We have PropWire, we have Data Cruncher, we have Redfin. So we don't need them to bring us a listing. We can find our own listings, and we don't need them to make the offer. What we need is the listing agents motivated to work with us. That's the most important thing. So that's why we double dip. And that's why we want to let that listing agent get both sides of the commission. So that way they're calling us with their off-market deals. And you guys are all having that happen right now, where agents you talk to are now bringing you off-market properties. And the only reason why they're doing that is because of the double dip strategy, because they know that if they bring you a listing that's not listed yet, like one of their deals with a seller, that they're going to get both sides. So they're motivated to bring it to you.
Yeah, like I've had a couple times where some agents brought me a house and I thought it was their listing, and I was like, this is like an old agent. I was calling them, and then apparently it's listed by someone else. And so I was talking through that agent to get to that agent. And I didn't even realize that. So they're trying to beat my buyer's agent.
Yeah, so if you're ever unsure, just ask. Say, hey, are you the listing agent on this property? Oh, you're not? Okay. hey, look, I got to be where I only work directly with the listing agent. I'd love to work with you. And then tell them, hey, do you have any listings, or I'll work with you on your listings, but you got to do this. If you don't do this, then this whole game of on market goes out the window. Like, you're not going to be able to do it, because we have to create a competitive advantage. And it's going to be very hard to do that if you're not double dipping. Okay. All right. Big shout out here to Josh. Keep it up, boys. I just closed an on-market wholesale deal, double close in Los Angeles, $154,000 wholesale deal. It was a fresh listing, and I was the first to call the agent who double dipped. Yeah, Josh. Oh my gosh. Here, you want to virtually hold this, Josh? Hold this $5,000 in cash. Pretend like it's in your hands right now. Dude, that is crazy. Guys, look at that. That's what's possible. Josh, you got to tell us more about this. This is great. Maybe we'll bring you on, Josh, and you could explain to us how you did that. So there's two ideas here. One is what Josh did, which is when you guys set up your searches, you want to be on those. As soon as you get that notification in your email, either through PropWire, Data Cruncher, or Redfin, call immediately, because sometimes it's first to the deal. Not every deal, but sometimes if it's priced aggressively, like in Josh's case, I'm imagining that he was first to call, it was priced really good, and he was able to lock it up before anybody else even got to it. That's one strategy. The other strategy is like what Nathan did. Nathan's got a deal right now where it's been sitting around forever, and they said no to 75,000. Nathan comes along and offers 75,000, and he just catches them at the right time. And they're like, okay, fine, let's take it. We're so tired of everybody making a low offer. And it was just timing, but it was sitting around forever. Like, that happens too. So you just never know. I mean, the point is just call on every single one, because you never know which one's going to be the deal. So that's awesome. Like, I hope you guys get really fired up when you see that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay. Yeah. So here's another example of that. Matthew, I just called the office of a listing agent, and she gave me the number of the agent. Yeah. So sometimes you got to call the office, and they'll do that. Okay. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm grabbing anything that's relevant to what we're talking about right now. Yeah, so Matthew, this may be an issue with Data Cruncher. That download feature is not in every market. So if it's not letting you do that in Philly, then they must not have that feature there. So I do know that they don't allow that in every single market for whatever reason. I don't know why they don't in some markets. Okay, so we'll spend some more time on this one, Jamar. I'm having trouble with the ARV. When I watch the videos, you do it so many different ways. Okay, well, we're going to look at some deals today, and maybe that'll be helpful to you as well.
That guy responded.
Who?
Josh.
Oh, let's see what he says. I got the Redfin email at 10:40 p.m. I texted the agent immediately and walked the property next day. Listed at 680, locked it up at 645, sold for 799. Josh, who was your buyer? How did you find your buyer? I'd love to know that too. Maybe leave us a comment on that. That is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I mean, does it get any better than that? That is the coolest story ever. Okay, so let's have you guys report in now on how your week went. Let's start with you, Jared. What was your week like this week? Were you able to hit your metrics, not hit your metrics? What challenges did you run into? And let's get an update from you. You're muted right now.
I did better than the last couple of weeks, but still didn't hit my numbers. But it felt good. I've been working with this one agent on these 16 properties that he told me about, and that's just taken a lot of time to comp all of those. So,
is that did that agent say if you can make individual offers, or is it a package only?
He said I could do either one.
Okay. So maybe one
Yeah.
way to do it would be, so how are you tackling it? Are you doing
I was
one?
thinking of just comping all of them, have my numbers ready, and either present like an offer for all 16, or yeah, that's the way I was gonna go. But if he like said no to that, then maybe go through the ones I really liked and just offer individually.
What I think you should do is go through, run your numbers, get your number, and just say, hey, here on this address, here's my number. Go to the next one. Here's my number.
Yeah.
And then when you're all done going through all of them, say, hey, if I buy all of them, I gave you my numbers individually, but if I were to take down the whole package of 16, can you get me an even better deal? Like I would want a better deal if I can get them all. And see what he says. They might do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
or they might be like, okay, well, we like your number on this one, and this one, but not on these ones. You know what I mean? You just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be careful on something like that, though, because sometimes that's a rabbit hole that could be all consuming and just take up so much time. Like what I would do is I'd run the first 3 or 4 and see how far off your number is from their asking price.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
like way off, then you can assume that they're all way off and you might be wasting your time.
Yeah, I've kind of been feeling like that.
Yeah, because sometimes those package deals are just a big time suck, and there's, they're not really motivated. So maybe even do like 2 or 3, and that's it, and be like, hey, here's 2 or 3. Let's see how these go, and if these go well, then I'll look at the rest of them. But I don't want to look at all of these if we're not even on the same page.
Okay.
That's how I would handle that. But that's cool. You had an agent bring you a package of 16. That's pretty cool.
And most of them are off market too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because now you're not competing with listed stuff.
I wanted to ask you on your advice for properties where it's like hard to comp. Like if there's no properties that are similar within the block that I draw out, is it still doable, or do you need to have that right there in that block?
How far back are you going? 6 months?
Yeah.
I'd go back a year just to see if it brings in more data.
Yeah.
Now those aren't going to be that great because they're old. So that's one option. Then I'd put it back at 6 months and I'd expand out a little bit and see if you can pick up any other comps. But if you can't, and the more you get outside of the parameters, just know that those comps are less relevant to the value, and bad comps are the same as no comps, right? So
Yeah.
you need data to support a number, and you got to get to that somehow. So the only thing you can do is start to expand your criteria, and there's 2 ways to do it. Go further out in time or go further out in distance away from the subject.
Yeah.
Like those are your only 2 options. Neither one of them is great. Like that's not the best place to be.
So let's say I still just want to give them an offer though.
If you don't have data to support it, you got to go just ridiculously low. And then I say to the agent, I say, look, I got to be really low because I don't have some data to support my number because there's no comps.
Yeah.
Like you show me comps. If you can show me comps, great. I'll make a better offer, but I can't find any good comps. So I got to just go extra. I got to be extra careful because I don't have comps.
Yeah.
And then try to get it for some ridiculously low number that if you did get it, somebody can't say no to it because it's just such a great deal.
Yeah.
Even though there's not good data for it.
Is it smart to ask the listing agent what they think it'll sell for?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
But if they say, oh, I think it'll get 180 or whatever they say, okay, show me where you're getting that number. Like what's giving you that value?
Yeah.
And if they can't give you comps.
Yeah, it's not a deal.
Sometimes I'll use the agent to confirm my comps.
Yeah.
And then if they say a number that I'm like, exactly that, I'll be like, okay, sweet.
Yeah. I love to get confirmation from agents. So sometimes I'll be off, like either low or high, and they'll say, I think you can get this. And I'll be like, okay, why? And they'll say, well, there's this comp or that comp. And I'm like, okay, well, those are comps I was looking at. I saw that one. I like that one. And then it lets you know that you're on the same page. Sometimes they'll bring comps where I'm like, that ain't a comp. That's not relevant to the property. Yeah. And I'll kind of get in a little bit of an argument with them, not in a bad way, but I'll challenge their value that they're coming up with. Not,
you also
not because
said,
I know better, because I'm curious.
yeah. You also said that there might be a seller financing route to take with these 16 properties. Could you explain more how that would work?
Yeah. So I remember asking you to ask them that. So
And I remember you saying did not say seller financing because they won't know what that is probably.
Creative financing, right?
well, they'll
Or
know what
just sub
seller
two.
financing is. Yeah, they'll
Sub
know what
two,
seller.
they won't know.
Most people don't know what subject to means. Now, if it's an investor, they might know, but agents don't really know what that means. So rather than say subject to, now a lot of them are getting wiser because subject to is getting more popular. But
My
rather than
agent's
say,
like a 70-year-old guy who's super old
is
school.
this that cool guy? What's his name?
Doyle.
Oh yeah, I love Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle's great.
Doyle's awesome. But it doesn't mean he knows what it is. So instead of saying subject to, say take over the payments.
Okay.
That's the same thing. And that
And
they know what that means.
And for seller financing?
Yeah, owner financing, seller financing. Most people know what that is. Yep. But remember, subject to is if they have a loan already in place on the property with a bank. Seller financing is when they own it free and clear, and they're going to finance it and be the bank. So the owner acts as the bank. Subject to is there's already a bank, and we're taking over that existing loan. See the difference?
We make payments to him for his property.
On a seller finance.
Yeah.
Subject to, we make the payments to the bank. Okay.
Does it matter what equity they have on sub two? Like how
No,
much?
creative finance equity is like the last thing we look at because a buyer will want that if the terms are good.
Yeah.
So if it cash flows and it's got cash on cash, low entry fee, good interest rate, no balloons, things like that are what make the deal attractive, not the price. With cash, it's all about the price. Like we have to buy really low with cash because we're tying up capital. Creative finance, we're either creating a new loan with seller finance or we're taking over an existing loan. So we don't have to come up with all the money, which means we can pay more if the terms are good. Okay. And I think all of you guys need to be having a creative finance offer in place. So like Jared, I was talking to you about this. When you make your low cash offer, Johnny, you had this happen where it was listed for 180, you offered 140, they countered at 160. Now you anchored your cash at 140. So this is the perfect time now to do a follow-up creative finance offer. So what you would say is you'd say, look, I can't pay cash for 160. My offer was 140. You're asking 180. I can't pay cash at 160, but I might be able to pay 160 if the seller was willing to wait to get some or all of their money. And they're going to go, well, what does that mean? And you say, well, if there's an existing loan, I could take over the loan. If there's not, then we can create a seller finance loan. And then I might be able to pay 160. I can pay a lot more. I say I might be able to pay a lot more for this property than cash if the seller's open to creative finance, if they're open to seller finance or subject to. And so that starts the conversation. So now the agent's going to go, well, tell me about that. What does that mean? And you'll have to go down that road now of explaining what seller financing is or subject to is. But it opens up a whole new pathway of opportunity with creative finance. And I know it's a beast. Like I've been going through some models with Nathan and Jared and Johnny, all three of you guys, where we pull up the calculator and we talk about it and we run the numbers. Because some of these deals, you're going to be able to get a deal with creative finance that you can't get with cash. And it's still a great deal to wholesale. It's just a creative finance wholesale, not a cash wholesale. Okay, so I'm reluctant to go that way with you guys because I'm worried that it's just too much to learn right now in the beginning. But I think you guys can get your head around it. I think you guys can do it.
The video series you do with Pace about creative financing, I've watched that like a ton of times.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, it's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing I've seen about it.
Yeah, it's really good because we go through each and every one of those different strategies and explain it. Yeah, so you guys definitely watch that. And then I've got detailed videos where I pull up live deals and I go through filling out the financial calculator, showing the numbers, explaining why we structure a deal this way. So that's where that half an hour a day, you guys have to be learning and improving your skills so that you become better at putting deals together and knowing what to say and knowing how to run the numbers is really key to this. The better you get at running the numbers, the better you can extract opportunity out of deals.
Yeah, that's my issue right now. Is I'll run the numbers and I'll be like kind of close to asking price, and then I'll be like scared now, like thinking something's off.
Yeah, Jared did that. He offered like 195 on a 205 listing, and we comped it, and like a bunch of comps in the neighborhood were 205. So 195 is not a deal. Now, there's a really quick way to know if you're way off. If it's been sitting on the market for a little while and you run your math on your calculator and the number it gives you is close to asking price, you're probably off somewhere because remember, we're buying at a deep discount. So if our deep discount number is equal to the asking price and it's been sitting for a while, you better believe it would have sold already.
Yeah.
Because the price we're at is a smoking deal because we have to buy it deep enough to where we can wholesale it and make money and leave it for a deal for someone else. So those are the ones like what's his name on here got in what was his name? Josh. Those are the ones that are sold in the first 5 minutes that they come out for sale. It's a smoking deal and someone's on it because they know it's a smoking deal and locks it up. If it's been sitting on the market for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 30 days, whatever, and you run your numbers and you're like, oh, this is a good deal. My calculator says I can pay full price. Tell yourself, this probably ain't a deal because it would be gone by now.
But then how would you know if it was fresh on the market?
That you wouldn't know because it just came out.
Because that's what happened to me today.
Okay.
That call.
You might not know that,
But then the issue is sometimes it could maybe pass for a home buyer. And then home buyers just screw over the whole investor game.
Yeah.
They can go right out where you need.
Yeah, because they're going to pay way more than us. So if it's ever clean, that's another indicator like, oh, this is going to be hard for me to get a deal. Clean meaning it doesn't need much. It's live-in.
It's dated, but it's still livable.
If it's dated but livable and it's on market, there's a good chance that that's priced to attract a retail buyer, not an investor. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get it. Doesn't mean you still don't make the offer. Just know going into the deal that this is probably going to go retail. The number I need to be at is going to be way lower than where they're asking.
We should go over to that call I sent you.
Which one?
The one that I sent you airdrop to the computer.
Was that one like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at that one then. Okay, so guys, I want to jump on some calls now. Want to start with yours, Truman? Okay, so we're going to go jump on and we're going to listen to a couple of calls with Truman. You want to do your good one or your bad one first, Truman?
Either. I guess.
All right.
It wasn't. Yeah.
I listened to it. I didn't think it was bad.
By bad is just like
it just didn't go well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then we're going to listen to Truman's call.
Did you critique the?
Yeah.
I didn't say it too.
Okay. All right. Trying to tell me if this is pulling up.
Just giving me a call. I'm an investor and I'm looking at a fix and flip. I see it's been on the market for 2 weeks. Have you guys got much action on it?
I think it's a showing, but it does need a lot of work and it smells like dogs really bad.
Oh, wow, okay. That's not the best. I was just giving you a call. I'm cash and I can close quick. I don't know how important that is to you guys.
Okay, so Truman, want some feedback?
Yes.
Okay, so when you ask the agent, right out of the gate, you say, hey, I'm Truman. I'm calling about this property. Have you had much action on it? Great question. I love that question because you want to get that agent starting to talk about it. And maybe they're like, oh, yeah, we've had 20 showings in the first day, or no, it's been out for a week and we're not really getting much interest in it. That kind of tells you, okay, it's probably overpriced. But whatever they say, what is valuable about what they say? So in her case, she said, it smells like dog. And I'm imagining dog pee was what that would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, okay, what does that do for you? Like how's that information helpful? What question could you ask about that?
It's probably scaring people away.
Yeah.
You can leverage it, probably.
Exactly. So the question you could ask would be, okay, so it smells like dog. Do you think that is going to detract a retail buyer? Or is that dog smell bad enough to where this is now an investor only property? Or could this still go retail? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do process of elimination. Am I up against retail buyers on this thing? Because if I am, I know I've got an uphill battle. But if I'm not, and I'm only competing against other investors, okay, well, they're going to be down low like me because they got to make money too. Maybe I got a shot at this. So when she comes out of the gate and says, smells like dog, in her mind, she's telling you the biggest problem that's going on, because that's the first thing she talks about is like this dog smells like dog problem.
Yeah, it smells like up dog in here.
What's up, dog?
Nothing much. What's up with you?
You should have said that.
That's what you should have said on the call.
Smells like up dog. Yeah, so then that's why that's valuable. That's only valuable anytime we ask a question. The answer is only valuable if we're using that for something. How's that helping us understand the bigger picture? So the question now is, okay, well, is that dog smell, like, does it burn your throat when you walk in the front door where there's no way a homeowner is going to buy that property because it's got dog piss everywhere and it's stained through the floors and we're going to need to like get moon suits to remediate this? Like, what's going on here, you know? So just ask more about it. Be like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Like, tell me more about the dog problem. Like, what is it? What is that? What's going on there? How bad is that? Is it something like, what do you think it's going to take to fix that? That might be great because she might say, oh man, you got to rip everything out of here and it's stained right down to the wood floors. So those wood floors are shot, you know, I don't know, but like, see what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
Okay, so that's good. Let's go back to your call.
I see you guys let's drop the price by 10K. Is there like a number you're looking to get?
Okay, so this is good too, Truman. I like this. Let me go back to the screen. So these are great questions. What you said is you said, hey, it looks like they did a 10K reduction. Now, why are you asking that? Again, what's the point you're trying to make?
No one's really interested. It's overpriced.
Overpriced. Okay, so, and I don't know if you remember like how long this has been on the market.
I think it was like 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so what you might say is hey, looks like this has been on the market now for about 3 weeks. I see they just did a price reduction. You know, how serious is the seller getting about moving this property? Like that, I think that's what you're trying to ask, right? Yeah. Like, hey, I see a price drop. And what you're really trying to find out is how motivated is the seller? So it's a great question because she might come back and be like, yeah, they really want to move this thing. They drop the price. They're very serious. They're very motivated. They want to get rid of this property as fast as possible. And that's why they did a price drop. Or they might be like, yeah, you know, they did a price drop, but they're going to probably stay at this number for, you know, another month before they look at another price drop, right? So whatever they're saying, you're just trying to gauge how motivated is this seller and what's going on so I can have some visibility about making my offer. Okay, that's all that's helpful for. And honestly, none of it really matters at all because at some point our offer's our offer, whether, you know, it smells like dog or not, our offer's our offer, right? Yeah. But the questions also help you create a relationship. So be careful not to just like blow through the questions and miss the opportunity to connect with the agent. I'm always trying to like either joke around or ask more questions or, you know, so that I can make a conversation feel really good and natural with the agent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go back to your call. Whoops.
No, he hasn't told me. So at this point, I'm willing to present anything to him. If you know, I would suggest coming out and taking a look at it and see if it's something that'll interest you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so great. I mean, so her answer was basically, I don't know where the seller's at. Okay. Now that's great because sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And what would be helpful would be if she's like, yeah, here's the seller's bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that be amazing if they just told you, well, actually the seller's willing to take like 50 grand less.
Yeah.
We're just starting out high and getting down, right? Like that would be the dream situation. And sometimes that happens.
But doesn't that mean she's probably a trash agent for the seller?
Yeah, you really shouldn't be telling the seller's bottom line, but we ask the question and then see what they say. And I'm blown away by things agents say if you just ask them. But technically, she shouldn't be telling you where the seller's at anyway, even if she knew. But they'll give you ideas sometimes. Like she might say something like, yeah, you know, they're getting pretty eager to move it. They're hoping to get it sold real quick here. And that's telling you something without telling you the seller's number. It's letting you know, hey, they're probably open to a lower offer without telling you what their bottom line is. So even if they don't tell you exactly, if you coax it out of them, they'll tell you information that's helpful.
Yeah.
So she's like, you probably should just go look at it and give me your offer. And she said, I'm willing to present anything. I love that. That means the agent's not stuck in her ways and she's not dead set on what the seller's number is. She's like, I don't know, and let's just present an offer. So like that's as good as we could ask for, really. All right, let's jump back.
Well, I mean, I can kind of get like a rough number. I know it's quite a bit under. So, you can probably tell me yes or no if it's even competitive. But, yeah, I'm quite a bit under.
What kind of number, and I'll call them and tell them?
Well, I would have to get like 80. I thought.
You think he owes more than that on it?
Just giving you a call.
Whoops. Oh. Sorry, I'd set the back.
No.
Yes or no if it's even competitive. But, yeah, I'm quite a bit under.
Well, what kind of number, and I'll call them and tell them?
Well, I would have to get like 80. I thought.
You think he owes more than that on it?
Okay, is it on free and clear?
No.
That's stupid.
Yeah, because you just said they owe more than that. Yeah, so you realized that right afterward. Okay, so let's talk about this. What do you think? What do you think about watching yourself make the lowball offer?
I don't really like cushion it at all, I guess.
Okay.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell your lack of confidence in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't ever want to have lack of confidence in our lowball offer.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be so confident about that number.
Yeah.
And one way to be confident about it is just be casual. Like I'm really casual sometimes. I'm like, and you were pretty quick to get to your offer. Like, what are you right now?
Yeah.
You're less than a minute and a half into the call, and you're kind of like jumping into your offer already.
Yeah.
I would have probably tried to get a little more information, maybe talked a little bit more about it. Mm-hmm. You could talk about, well, what do you think this property could sell for? What do you think it needs in repairs? At some point though, you're gonna have to get to this part, and then you want to be really confident about your number. Mm-hmm. And so, like, if someone were to challenge me with my number, I'm ready to combat. I'm ready to, like, oh, you want to talk about why my offer's at 80? Oh, let's talk about why my offer's at 80. This thing needs all this work. I gotta pay closing fees and commissions. Like, I would just go into it, because the truth is your offer for 80 is probably a good offer. I mean, if you believe in what you're doing, then that's a good offer for an investor. Yeah, own it. Yeah, if you're going to make it, own it, and just be confident and say, I got to be at 80, man, because this thing needs work, and I got to pay closing fees and commissions when I buy it and when I sell it. I got to spend money on the rehab. I need to make a profit. So 80 feels like a good number. Or you could, if you want, you could say things like, hey, I know there's probably a good shot that my offer won't get accepted because it's quite a bit lower than your asking price. More than anything, though, I just want to make a connection with you. I want to let you know that I'm a cash buyer. For me to buy this deal, I need to be like around 80 for this to work. What do you think about that? Do you think the seller would entertain that? I know it's quite a bit lower, but that's a number that feels like it would work. So kind of like, but you're still confident, but you're also prepping her for your low offer and being aware that it's low, but you're not apologetic about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I did this past week was I would ask, that makes sense to you, right? Why I need to be there. I'd ask the agent that, why you understand why I need to be at this offer, to try and let them know that there's a reason I'm here. It's not just crazy.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if you explain it right, they'll be like, "No, yeah, I get why you're there. I just can't make it work."
Yeah. Yeah. They'll say, "Yeah, I get it why you're at 80, but I just don't think the seller's going to go there." Now, I'm curious to see where you go with this when they tell you that they owe more than 80. Let me share it. So let's share the screen.
It's a land contract on it.
Okay, when did he buy the house?
Oh, did he say he owned it on land contract?
Land contract on it.
I don't really know what that means.
Let's see.
No, it's a land contract on it.
Okay.
He has a land contract on it. So that means he bought a land contract is a seller finance loan.
Oh, okay.
They call them that in Michigan. It's technically an executory contract, like a contract for deed, or in Michigan, they call them land contracts. But he owns it on seller financing, basically.
Yeah.
When did he buy the house?
A little over two or 3 years ago.
Okay, I might be able to take over his payment.
There you go.
He might be interested in that.
I can ask.
Yeah, give him an ask. We do a lot of those. So if he'd be interested in that, I can put together. Yeah, just give him an ask.
Okay. All right, I shall ask him.
And yeah, you don't have to worry about commissions and closing costs. At closing, you'll pay all that. So if he's interested in that, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I will see what he says.
Okay, when can I expect a call from you?
Good question.
Well, I'll try calling him right now and see what he says.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
So one thing, Truman, is in order for us to do that, take over their land contract, which is great idea. I mean, good for you. That was the subject too, right? Like, oh, there's a loan in place. Maybe we can take that over. But what I would say to her is I'd say, look, when you talk to the seller, find out how much he owes on that loan, on his land contract. How much does he owe on his land contract? What's his interest rate? And what are his terms of that loan? Because if she comes back and she's like, he said yes, then that's going to be your next question is, okay, well, what's the rate and what's the terms and what's his land contract look like? So then you just want to coach her and say, hey, if he's open to us taking over his land contract, find out what's the balance on it, what's the rate, is there any type of balloon? The balloon would be, it's due in full in a certain period of time, and any other details. Like I would, and ask him for any other details about that land contract. And then I would reiterate to her, like, you did a good job by saying, hey, I'll cover the closing fees and commissions. But I would say, hey, depending on what the terms are, we could pay a lot more for this property. Or I always say I might. Because I don't ever want to say I will when I don't know if I will, because it depends on what the numbers are. But I might be able to pay a lot more for this property if we could take over his land contract. But I need to know the terms, the interest rate, the due date of the land contract, and so on. So ask the seller that information when you talk to him. Yeah. I love how you committed her, though. Like, always commit agents to get back to you. Yeah. Like, when are you going to get back to me? She's like, I'll call him right now. So it's okay, awesome. Now you make a note, and when she doesn't call you back right away, now I got to follow up with her tonight or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah. Is anything gone with that? Like, did anything happen?
Well, there's I stitched two clips together. He just responded.
Oh, okay. Let me share that again, and we'll see.
Hey.
Hello?
Yeah, so he wouldn't be interested in that?
Yeah, he did. He said some not so nice words.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I get that all the time. Don't worry.
He wasn't really happy. His funny comment was, tell him to go watch another investing show.
Yeah.
I'm not really playing that game.
All right.
Actually, and then he said to have
Oh, okay. No.
Wow.
All right, that's right. I get that all the time.
You missed
He's
out.
really a hard seller. He's really rough.
All right. Well, really, you're going to tell someone to go F off because they made you a subject to offer? But, that's how people are, right? Like, whatever. So, Truman, you're great about rolling with it. Tell her, like, hey, I get that all the time. Don't worry about it. But did you then... Okay, so then the 80 doesn't work because he owes more than that and he's got it on a land contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
then I just switched to like talking to her specifically.
Okay, great.
But I
Let's-
tried it out, so.
Any thoughts or feedback?
Textbook.
I stuttered a lot on that call. I was watching a movie and I was getting a call, so I just stepped out and recorded real quick. So I wasn't in the right headspace.
You weren't on your game?
No, that's why it was my bad call. I just I said a lot of ums, and I didn't really respond to her answers too well. I was like, oh, okay, and I just kind of asked the next question, which I feel like I'm typically better at it, but in this video, it's kind of
Swear better.
yes. Trust me.
Good. All right. Well, let's listen to your next call.
Hello, Tony.
Hey, Tony, how's it going? My name's Truman.
Your name's what?
My name's Truman, like the president.
Oh, Truman. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was just giving you a call about your house on Beach Road.
Okay.
I'm an investor, so I was looking at this as a fix and flip. It's pretty outdated. Need some work for sure.
Right.
I see it's been on the market for like 3 weeks, though. I mean, have you guys got much interest on it?
No, we only had 3 showings at this point in time. We haven't had any offers yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a number they're looking to get? I see they just dropped by 10,000.
I think if we got 145, he'd be happy with that.
Okay.
Okay, let me pause right now. Okay, so this is an agent that just tells you everything. Like, oh my gosh, like this is great. He's like 3 showings. So what does that help you understand? 3 weeks, a price drop, only 3 showings.
No.
It's overpriced.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know it's overpriced?
There's nothing really happening with
Yeah,
it.
no activity,
Yeah.
no interest, no activity. He said no offers.
Mm-hmm.
So in a low inventory market, when something sits around for 3-4 weeks, it's overpriced. Otherwise, there'd be some action on it. Okay. So that tells you right now that, okay, I'm up against an over listed property.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the next question you asked him? I forget.
Price drop or
See much action?
Yeah, he was really open.
oh yeah, like was there a number they're looking
Oh yeah. You asked him, you're like, is there a number they're looking for? He's like, yeah. I think he'd be thrilled at 45. Do you remember what it was listed for?
He said 145. But
Oh, 145.
It was listed. Not sure.
Okay.
Maybe I can-
But he told you the seller's number. Now,
Yeah.
now that could be right or it could be wrong. So it doesn't mean that that's right, because a lot of times agents think they know the seller's number.
Yeah.
And how do they know?
Yeah.
There's no way that they know, because even if the seller told them, yeah, I want 145, the seller might just be saying that to the agent,
Yeah.
but he'll really take 125.
Exactly.
So even if the agent thinks they know, they don't know.
Yeah.
The only way to know is to put an offer in front of the seller and see what they do. That's the only way to really know. Okay, so let's keep listening.
He'd be happy with 145, but what would he be okay with?
Yeah.
How long-
But what will he take?
I mean, what do you see going? Do you see any good comps for what's going for after it's fixed up?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You see any good comps for what it could go for after it's fixed up?
Yeah, there's one that just sold down the road. I believe it was 3090 Beach Road. And that one went, I believe, for 220. And then there was another one that I don't know if it's sold yet. I think it might have within the last week or so. That one I believe went for 210, and that was also on Beach Road.
Okay, gotcha.
Just down the road from them. It's a nice little piece of property. It's 3/4 of an acre. It's like not exactly a
Yeah.
DPW property there. So.
And those comps were fixed up.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Those houses were fixed up.
Yeah, the other one, the other two.
Yeah. I see
You wrote
that
those
they're-
down, those addresses?
I see at least the
I'll
one
search them
with
up
brick,
twice.
which can add a little bit also.
Right.
Yeah, the comp you mentioned was a breaker. So.
Well, I'm cashed. I can close quick. I don't know how.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, so whenever an agent starts supporting their numbers with data, then you got to get your head around what they're looking at and challenge it if you need to. So, like I would write those down. I'd say, hey, let me pull this up right now, and then you pull it up and you realize it's like 5 miles across town, or it's twice the size, or you said it was brick.
Yeah, and the house was offered
is not brick. So then you say to him, you say, well, yeah, this got 220, but I'm just looking at this thing and it's brick, it's newer, it has a 2-car garage, and man, this thing is like really nice. They did renovate this. This is a really good renovation. It's a mile and a half north of where I'm at. Like I don't know that this is really a comp. Because again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to justify your low price. Now, let's say it's an awesome comp and you're like, okay, wow, yeah, this looks like a great comp. This looks like it's just like my house, or it's relevant enough. It's in my neighborhood. It's a frame. Mine's a frame, and then be like, okay, yeah, I think this is a good comp. Like, so it could go either way, but the only reason why you're asking that is so that you can use that information to help you make a decision. Now, at that point, you maybe are going to readjust your offer because you're going to fix your ARV, or you're going to stay where you're at because that's not a good comp. Like, who knows what you're going to do. But you want that agent to feel like what he's sharing with you matters. Like, you're going to use it for information. Yeah. And you might even say, why do you think this is a comp? Like, why do you think this is good? Yeah. Because it looks a little different to me, but why do you think this is a good comp? Right? And you're curious. You don't want to be combative or confrontational necessarily. Sometimes I will, but that's not the point. The point is like, help me understand what's going on here. Yeah. Okay. Was that information helpful he gave you or not really?
Yeah, I tried to say something, but didn't really come out right. I was just like, this is brick, so it'll get a little more. Like I should have kind of spoke on that a little more. Okay, good. But let's go back to your.
To you guys, considering it's been on the market for 3 weeks, but I always think I should offer it. I can give you a ballpark number of what we'd have to be at. See, if we can get a counter offer maybe, and maybe try to make something work.
Okay, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. So you don't ever want to make an offer asking for a counter.
Yeah, because you're not showing
Yeah.
You're not dedicated to your offer.
Yeah.
Ton, though.
Yeah, here's my low offer, but I got a lot of room to come up. Right? It's okay, because it's all learning, Truman. This is awesome. I love that we're doing this. Yeah. So one thing you could say is well, why don't you put that offer in front of him and see what he says? Yeah. Just get back to me, see what he says. But you want to be careful that you're not telling the agent that you're open for a counter. Otherwise, you're telling the agent you could pay a lot more, and that kind of defeats the purpose of our low offer, right? Okay, so let's jump back to your call. Wish we had a faster way of doing this, but.
I mean, I was looking at it as 120. I know it's a substantial amount under. But I don't think he'd go for that. I don't think he would go for that. Totally. You think he'd counter that? I guess I could ask him to find out. Yeah, I'm just interested in see if you could, give verbal to the seller. See if we can make something work. Is it owned free and clear? Yep. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, don't worry, it's paid off. It's paid off. It's actually John's mom's name, and his brother Scott. It's all three of their names. Oh wow! And they're all ready to sell it. I mean, does that get confusing? Pictures on the listing agreement, all three of them. So they're all sell it. Does that get confusing?
He would join us.
I'm sorry.
Hey Joe. Yeah. So you want to talk to sellers, see what they have to say about that?
Yeah, I could ask him. See when he would come back yet.
Yeah, totally. Okay. While you do that, though, is there anything else you have that I can take a look at? It's coming up on the market, maybe that's distressed.
I got one that's going to be coming on the market in about 3 weeks or so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Most times.
I'm working.
Gotcha.
on it.
Then Fort Gratiot up on the Lakeshore Road. It's a 5-acre parcel with close to 1,900, almost 2,000 square foot home. With a garage. It doesn't need the work that this one does. It just needs facelift, like new flooring, new paint.
Gotcha. Has good bones. Has a garage. Does that have a basement?
Yeah.
Good question, Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, that always makes it easier. What was the address for that?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but I can text it to you later on. I'm driving right now, so I got you on Bluetooth. So,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Careful driving. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
when's the soonest you can get that address? I'm really interested. So, yeah.
I can get that for you probably within an hour or two.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I can probably, if you send it within an hour or something, I can probably get to you tonight with what we have to be at. Awesome. Yeah.
What's your last name, Drew?
Richardson.
Richardson? Okay.
Yeah, Richardson. And yeah, we buy the property as is, so it's like if it's trashy, they don't have to do anything. Is there someone in right now?
No, it's very good. It's not trashy. It's
It's not trashy.
Totally.
70s kind of retro 70s kind of.
Oh, totally.
In there right now.
Yeah.
It's not all trash or something like that.
Okay, gotcha. That's always nice. So, yeah, just as soon as you can, send me the address, and yeah, I'll put together the offer.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good. I'll John see if you'll. I'll tell him I got a guy that'll offer 120. That cash, right?
Yeah, cash.
Okay. So no appraisal, none of that garbage to go with it. You want to have an inspection done, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, just a couple days. Typically, we say like 10 days, but it's flexible.
Okay. All right. I'll let him know that, and then I'll let you know, and then I'll get that address for you too.
Okay, thanks.
Fort Gratiot.
Yeah,
We'll go from there.
I appreciate that, Tony.
Okay. Good. Dude, like just showing up and asking, hey, do you have anything else? One thing I'd ask him for when you're asking for that address is say, hey, do you have any pictures? Have you taken any pictures yet? Because you're not going to have any visibility on it. He said it was like retro 70s. So I'm imagining it's like super dated, but maybe taken care of.
Yeah, I think in a later call, I asked him that,
Okay.
and he didn't. But then I asked him if he walked the property, so he kind of described it for me.
Okay.
On a different call.
Yeah, so you could say, hey, have you taken any pictures yet? One thing when they tell me that too is I'll ask them a little bit more like, hey, so do you have this listing locked up?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm going to list it in 3 weeks. Okay, why are you waiting 3 weeks to list it? I'm just curious. Oh, because they gotta, they're going to clean it out a little bit or whatever. Oh, well, they don't have to. Whatever they tell you, you can now play off of.
Yeah.
But like that's why we call, because it leads to off-market leads.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so great.
The one thing about that property is like, yeah, I'm struggling finding comps in that property too because it's 5 acres.
Wow.
And it's kind of just dead area, and so I've been kind of even back like if you go back in time, there's not that many, so I've just had to go further. So it's kind of tricky.
So rural or big acreage, you have to try to find other 5-acre lots, so you can go out further.
Mm-hmm. And it's like next to the water, which can add some value. So it's like.
What city is that in?
St. Clair.
Okay.
Shores.
Yeah, if you need some help looking at that, let me know, and I can try to help you comp it. But great job, Truman. I mean, guys, leave a comment and let us know what you think about Truman's call.
It's tough watching these. Like,
Yeah.
it's really tough watching these.
I
feel like visually, like I move around a lot now that I'm watching it. I go like,
yeah, and you make faces. You're kind of like, But that's good. That's good to watch them. This is why you should record your calls and watch them, because you can do feedback on yourself by watching these. Johnny, tell me if the comments are updating, because I haven't had a updated comment in a while. I don't know.
They're on the YouTube.
This
Yeah.
guy said Truman's a closer. This guy said Truman's a flipping genius. Okay. No, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know why my chat's not updating.
Yeah.
That was the last comment I got.
That's just comment.
Okay, let me know if you guys see any good comments
I'm a closer.
we're talking about. But yeah, guys, leave a comment and say, Truman, way to go. You're a flipping genius. Okay, let's jump on to Johnny. I kind of want to listen to should we listen to your fake listing agent, that one? Or do you want to listen to your other call?
I don't care, whatever you want. You're the boss man.
Let's listen to your call because I want to give you some feedback on your call.
This one I really liked.
You liked your call?
This one right here I liked because I felt like I hit all the criteria. I had like a 15-minute call that I wanted to show that was kind of bad, but it was just so long.
Why do you think it was bad?
Because I kept asking the agent questions, and then he kept being like, I don't know, you're the one that's doing this.
The other one where I was like,
Yeah.
that'd be a good one to show.
Yeah, it's just long. So I went over that one before I made this call because I was kicked off by how that call went. So then I tried to really like figure out what stuff I needed to improve on while I made this call, which was just letting the listing agent know where I need to be and why I need to be at that. And, like, if they're confused, explain it to them.
Yeah.
Like the last guy, I'd be like, what do you think this would sell for all fixed up? I'd be like, I don't know. How much do you want to put into it? I'd be like, well, I do this and that. And he's like, well, what are your like he was just
pushing it back on you.
Me.
Yeah.
So this time I hopefully did a little better.
Yeah, so when they're like that and they're like, well, I don't know, you're the investor, be like, yeah, I'm just curious what your opinion is. You're an agent, so you should know stuff too,
This one should be a lot better, yeah.
All right, let's listen to your call and see how it goes.
Well, I mean, like, it was like a 15-minute call that one. I can send it if we want to go through the whole 15-minute call.
All right, let's listen to Johnny.
Yes, sorry, I was looking at the one on Fritz, and I was looking at the comps, and I see that it is in a really good area, and everything around that area is like really high and really well priced. Yeah, but it's nice lot. Yeah. It's also the smallest lot in the neighborhood, so I was trying to figure out what the comps would be for it, which is kind of tough because it needs some work done. It's listed in the description.
Okay, let me say again. The comps are going to be good because we priced it there. Because the core of the house, like the roof isn't that old, and the heart of the home is solid, but it's just not cared for.
Gotcha.
It's just not cared for. We helped them buy it in the last 2 years, and it's just been busy working and kids, and it just kind of got away. But
yeah, it's just kind of messy. I can see.
The landscape, it's
yeah.
It's got a broken window now.
Gotcha.
It's just things people could fix. He just doesn't have time.
Gotcha. So, are you guys looking to sell it to an investor or a home buyer, or just whoever gets closer to price? You don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, I've had so many calls already. I mean, fully anticipate. I mean, whoever brings us the best offer is getting the house.
And would you disclose how close the offers are?
I don't know that we have any. Literally, it hit half an hour ago on the way to my showing. We put it on, so I don't think it's probably got anything at the moment. But we've had at least 10. My phone's been going crazy.
Gotcha.
All morning, just by the sign in the neighborhood.
Dang, yeah, it's a crazy neighborhood. This home's selling here that were sold here for like $1 million. Yeah, this was like the smallest house I could find. So far.
Way over that, actually. I mean, on the corner across the street, they're multi-million. On the other street, that's where I live, they're like 1.5.
Damn.
And behind it, they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great location.
Yeah. So.
You bored, Johnny?
And It has 2-car garage and a basement, right?
It has a crawl, I believe.
So no basement. Yeah.
No basement.
No basement. So,
2-car garage.
gotcha. If you were to fix up all these little issues that it had, maybe paint job, I know asking the listing agents what they think it would sell for after it got fixed up is kind of stupid because the investor is the one who decides everything you put into it, which is everything you put in is dependent on how much you get out of it. So, but if you were to just give a guess of what you think this would sell for, I just like to ask the listing agent because their opinion is valid. They know the area really well. What they think it would sell for, possibly like a rough guesstimate of what the house would sell for if you just gave it cleaned out the place, maybe some new paint, that's it. You think it would sell? Because the comps I have are maybe.
Yeah, that's what it needs is paint, window pane, thicket molding, it's so disheveled. But my son actually asked me about that today, and I told him, of course, you're going to put a new kitchen in. The floor plan and the layout is really cool. I would have made the big room in the kitchen a dining room, hung a chandelier, get those curtains up, big front window. That wraparound porch is awesome, but it just needs an awesome, beam ceiling on that covered part and some character,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really did the details, definitely over 300. I mean, the location calls for it, but it's what you're gonna.
It's what you put into it.
There's no land.
Why did it start over?
But it just needs.
Okay, let's stop right there for a second and talk about a few things. Okay, so when you ask the agent her opinion on value, you explained to her why. You basically reiterated to her what somebody else told you was a stupid question. So you're trying to justify, look, I know that I'm the one that has to determine it and stuff, but sometimes I like to see the agent's opinion. Don't assume just because somebody else thought that was a stupid question that everybody thinks it's a stupid question. Just assume it's a good question because it is actually. The fact that another agent was rude about value and prices and is like, well, you're the investor. Just know that that's 10% of people. Most agents like her, she wants to talk. She wants to be heard. She has an opinion. She has ideas. Let her talk. Let her share. Just be like, what do you think the value is? This one's kind of tricky because it's in a neighborhood of really nice homes, but it's this small house on no basement. What do you think it'll sell for over there? And just leave it at that. And she got around to 300. I don't know. Where were you at on it?
I was 310, so right
okay.
where I needed to be, which was good.
Yeah. So that kind of confirmed where you wanted to be. What else? What are the right thoughts? You were also talking about paint and just doing this and that. I would not explain to the agent where you're at first. Ask them what they think first. So then, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to create bias. You want their open opinion before you give yours. What I mean by that is, hey, what do you think would need to go into this property if I were to resell it? What would you recommend I do? And let her say, I would fix this and I would fix that. And then you might be like, well, would you do a new roof on this? Or what do you think about those cabinets? And then maybe ask some follow-up questions, but let her tell you what you're thinking first to confirm what you think. Otherwise, she might just reiterate what you just told her and not give you a different opinion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, try and let her be open before you say what your purpose is.
Yep, exactly. And then you might be like, okay, well, yeah, I see what you're saying. Or you might be like, well, I don't know. What do you think about that or this? And get her to kind of share more. All right, let's keep listening.
An awesome, beam ceiling on that covered part and some character,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really did the details, definitely over 300. I mean, the location calls for it, but it's what you're gonna.
It's what you put into
really
it.
There's no landscaping at all. I mean, I think there is. Honestly, I think it's buried in I see stones, and we helped them buy it. I did look up the picture late last night to kind of recall what was in that landscaping, but I don't want to say it because I don't even know if it's still there.
Dang. Yeah. Well,
I think it is under the grass. I kind of thought thinking that when I threw the sign in this morning, but I mean, I don't know. Look up the old listing. I don't know.
gotcha. So yeah, that's about the number I had it at, maybe a little over 300,000, because it's still 3-1, but
Yeah, and it's rare to have like that house with a master bath there. It's not the biggest, but it is definitely a master bath, and for that type of house, that's a huge plus out there.
yeah, it's a huge plus. Well, I can give you a verbal today and just let you know where I need to be at, and then you could propose that to your seller. And if they like it, then we can go further from there. Maybe I can send you over a contract or a proof of funds, anything you need. But I need to be under what the asking price is by a significant amount because, I need to clean it up, and then in order to make it pretty penny, I need to be probably at like 200,000. Does that seem too insane?
Well, yeah, it's gonna go. I mean, are you from this area?
I am out of state currently, but I have a whole team there, and so I used to know the area really well. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely gonna go for asking price. It's definitely 99% gonna go over asking price, and so.
What was asking price?
Walk me through that. Walk me through your thought process on why you think it's going to go for.
It's just
Okay, great question. Love that. Walk me through your thought process. So, why do you think it's going to go for asking price? Now, she did say in the very beginning, we're getting a ton of action.
Mm-hmm.
So then if it's getting a ton of action. Whenever something gets, let me turn the sharing off. Whenever something's getting a ton of action, like they're like, oh my gosh, there's like showings and my phone's blowing up. That means it's priced pretty good and the market likes it. And there's a good chance that they're going to get a pretty good offer. So if like you're way under, then now you're going to still make your offer, but you're going to approach it a little bit differently. So now what are you going to do? You're going to say, man, it sounds like you have a lot of interest. What do you think this is going to go for? Do you think, and she's like, well, I can't say. Well, do you think it's going to go for at or around asking price, or where do you think you're going to be at?
Right? She said she thinks she's going to get it for more.
Yeah, but see, she's telling you that after you made your lowball offer. So then what you do is you're like, is that what's happening here? Do you think this is going to go for at or around listing price? Yeah, it's going to go for at least list price, maybe even over price. And then you're like, okay, well, that's probably not going to work for me because if I'm going to resell it at 300, by the time I go in there and do the renovations and I pay closing fees and financing fees and I try to make a little bit, I would have to be quite a bit under. So this might not be a good fit for me. So you're kind of like getting to your low offer without getting to your low offer and just see what she says. She might be like, yeah, I don't think you should even waste your time. Then you might say, okay, well, I'm cash. Would that make a difference? Like you might get a retail offer, but would the seller consider something lower for cash? Things like that. But you kind of want to play off of what to then when you get to your offer, it aligns with like what you're learning, what she's saying. And then you could say something like, yeah, man, I would probably, because what was it listed for?
I think it was 250.
Okay. So think about that. 250 and it's worth 300. How's that a deal? By the time you go in there and spend, you can't even paint a house and do carpet and paint and floors on a house for less than 15 or 20,000 plus some other things. The bare minimum is 25,000 probably to do the rehab.
Yeah.
And now you're at 275. That thing's not going to make any money by the time you pay commissions, closing fees, financing. You don't even have any room for profit, right? So, but it's probably going retail. So for someone else, a homeowner, they're like, man, if I can buy this for 250, it's worth 300 and I'll paint it and I'll do the fix up like a do-it-yourselfer. Yeah. That's who the buyer is. Okay. But great. I love you're asking the right questions. Just some little feedback is all. Let's see. Let's keep listening.
In the home. I've got a price for some first-time home buyer to come in and compensate a little bit more, but it is definitely going to, go.
Gotcha. So you think a home buyer?
I wanted to put it at $289, and I just said, listen, let's just create a bit more. It's going to happen. It already has happened, actually.
Gotcha. So the interest you've had has been home buyers that are looking for the house, because as an investor, you know why I need to be lower. But
Good question.
home buyers can just go and they can just give it a window.
They're not desperate by any means. They're very smart and financially savvy and all that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like $250,000 home right now. If anyone can afford that, they're obviously savvy.
Yeah, no, they're moving significantly up in price.
Obviously.
They've been so busy with their business, they haven't been able to deal with this one. But
Gotcha. Well, how often would you say you come across properties that are distressed like this, or not even worse?
Good. Move on to the relationship.
But in this location, you're
Not at
still
all.
not gonna, no, not in this location, yes, but they still go way over.
Gotcha. Well,
It's just Washington Township.
I look at all sorts of stuff like this. I can send you over my information. I can save your number. I'd love for you to send me anything you see in the future, or if you have anything you want me to take a look at right now, I can too.
No, I'm good. But you have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Good. Yeah, Johnny, great. I think you're right on track. I mean, Truman, you too. You guys are right there. You're asking the right questions. I mean, the feedback I'm giving is small stuff. If you guys just keep, I mean, and I can see progress. Like, do you guys see how much better you are than week one?
Yeah.
I see it.
Uh-huh.
You guys are way better than week one. Now, Jared, on the other hand, just kidding. All right, Nathan. He's not even paying attention.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to upload the one that was a super bad call, but I uploaded the one that was an okay call.
I want to let's do your call I jumped on with and talk about that. Want to?
I don't know. Did you record that one? I don't know if I did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's give some context here. Nathan, guys, might have a deal. Nathan might have a deal. Well, he does if they accept. Did he get back to you yet, Nathan?
Who? Which one?
On the short sale.
Ryan?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he told me everything he told you. He's
but did he send you the offer?
Let me check actually.
He said he was going to send it to sign.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Nathan's got a short sale deal accepted. In fact, Nathan, I ran back over the numbers and I ran it by Chris. Chris is like, yeah, that's a deal if you can get that.
Let's go.
No, but it's a good buy.
That's so cool.
Check and tell me right now. He said he was going to send it in like 15 minutes, and that was a couple hours ago. Get that thing signed and back.
Let me check.
So this one was a little tricky, guys, because it was a short sale. So Nathan talked to this guy before. They owe way more than it's worth. They owe, what was it, Nathan? $136. They owe $136,000 on this little 2-bedroom.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's and our offer.
I got the email. He sent it to me.
Okay, sign that thing. Is it a DocuSign?
Yeah.
Okay, sign that thing. Yeah, let's go. So let's listen to the call. So I was sort of confused, so I jumped on this one with Nathan. So this is sort of cheating, but not really, because Nathan still did it. And let's listen to this, and then I'll explain what happened here.
Doesn't count.
Are you there, Nathan?
Hello? Hey, you there, Ryan? What's up? Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Jerry's here too. Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going good.
Good. Yeah, we wanted to talk to you about this property here real quick on Bay. So I think we spoke last time. This is, you said, approved for a short sale now?
So we reached out to the bank and they just said, hey, send us an offer in writing to this email. You know, you usually take about 60 days, but we should be able to get that worked out. We're obviously going to have to do that short sale negotiator. But yeah.
Okay, so we'll write up an offer, we'll present it, but then we've got to wait for the bank to approve it to even know if we've got something. Like, it's not an automatic acceptance.
Right. And then also I wanted to add, I plan on, when I send the offer to them, also sending pictures with the state of the home all together, so they have a good understanding of the value to help us out as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah, because I've done short sales, and they can take a long time, and then you never know if the bank will accept that anyway.
Right. I agree. Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think how we want to write this offer, because, I mean, do we want to say it's good for a certain amount of time? I mean, what I don't want to do is 6 months from now they come back and say, okay, we finally got your number approved, and who knows where that property's at or the market. You know, how do you want to tackle that?
I mean, my plan, and especially with it, I think 60 days.
For approval or for closing?
For closing. I'm thinking 60 days.
You think you can get it done that fast?
I mean, I'm going to try my hardest.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Can we write it where we have a 10-day contingency once the bank says yes? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to get over there. I mean, like, I need to walk it and get my head around what's going on. But I don't want to do that now if 60 days from now the bank says yes, you know, and then we close 30 days after that, and then the property's, I don't know, sitting that much longer, and I'm going to have to go back over there again then if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think what we do is I don't go over there and look at it or anything right this second. We get the offer in. The minute the bank says, hey, your 60, your offer, your 70 offer, or whatever, what was our offer, Nathan? 70. Once our offer is accepted, then I have a few days to go over there and just make sure nothing's going on. Like, are you okay with doing it that way, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. So what I'll do in the additional terms is I'll just make it clear. I'll use some verbiage. I'll chat GPT some contract verbiage. But
he's going to chat
GPT. I'll just basically state that the inspection period doesn't start until the bank has accepted.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to say. Yes.
So that way where it's just cut and dry, super clear. And then we'll do like a standard's 15 days. You know? So we can even do a 15-day inspection period.
I mean, I just need 10. 10's, yeah. And then how do you handle earnest money? Do we put that down now or after approval?
Yeah, that's the thing. So usually it's to be made within 3 days of the approval. So of executed contract. So really, actually, we don't even need. I'll still put that in additional terms for the inspection period, just so it's super clear. But
can you put what do you want, $1,000? But can we do that at the same time when the bank approves? Then we pay the earnest money.
Yeah, you have to do it within 3 days of them approving it.
Okay.
So really, the contract doesn't start until they accept it. So what I'll do is I'll give them 15. I'll do 30 days for time of acceptance on this offer.
Perfect.
That'll give me a reason to bug them. So then that way, if it does end up being 30 days, then we get 30 days.
Okay, so then let me make sure I'm clear here. We're gonna submit an offer right now.
Yep.
That offer is gonna say from bank approval, we have 30 days to close. At the time of bank approval is when we'll pay the earnest money, you know, within 3 days. And our 10-day inspection will start at the time of bank approval as well.
Correct.
Perfect. That's what we want.
Sounds good. Excellent, sweet. All I need to know is what name to put this in. Is it going to be an LLC?
I'm trying to decide that still. I'm working with Nathan, and I want him to do this one, you know, all the way through. So I'm thinking of putting it in his name, just his name.
Okay.
You okay with that, Nathan?
Yep. No, sounds good to me.
So just Nathan Norton.
All right, NATHANNORTON.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
What?
And then we got the earnest money there.
What else do you need?
This is cash, right?
Yeah, cash.
Yeah. Perfect. Now, honestly, I think that's it. I'm going to double check here before I let you go. Honestly, I might put in this. I'm going to put in the closing date. I'm going to put it to be determined because we're not going to know until,
I think you just put 30 days from accepted offer or from bank approval.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Because then I don't even want to plan on it. I don't want to set aside the money for it. I don't want to go, until we know we've got bank approval, and then let's schedule a closing. I mean, we could do it a little sooner, but I think that's pretty normal, 30 days.
30 days is normal, yeah. But with it being cash, you can close as soon as you want once you get that approval.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like 3 days for the title work. But.
Okay, then let's do 3 weeks then. So 21 days, that gives us time to get, because the reason why also is gives us time to get like contractors lined up and stuff like that. But I don't want to do any of that until I know we've got approval.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
So even 30 days would be great, but if you want to go 3 weeks, that's fine too.
All right. And I gotta ask, do you guys want to do a home warranty thing?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Remind me, it's occupied, right?
No, it's vacant. It is vacant now.
It is vacant.
The seller's already, yep.
Okay, so those pictures on there from when they were living in it?
Yeah, the seller left, I want to say about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so this is another reason why it's good to start the inspection after bank approval, because who knows what's going to happen with that thing sitting around vacant right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, stuff happens when a house is vacant. It could.
Well, luckily, her family lives here, and they're keeping an eye on it. And
Okay.
I did meet the neighbor, and every time I've had an agent show the property, that neighbor is always over there. He's like, "Hey, just watching the house."
Okay, good. So they got a nosy neighbor, which is great.
Yeah, which I think he's friends with her and her family and stuff, so he just keeps an eye on it. But, yeah, he scared a couple people away. But it's a good thing, it is a good thing.
Okay. So Nathan, does this make sense? Because it's a bank, the bank has to approve we can submit any offer we want, it doesn't matter. The bank has to approve it, which means we have to go through this bank process with a short sale. If Ryan can get that done in 30 days and then close 30 days later, that's amazing. Typically, I've seen him take.
That's a good investment.
I mean, but Ryan, the short sales I've done from start usually take like 6 months. So I don't, what bank is this?
It was Veterans United, but they sold it all.
Is it VA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I looked it up. It's showing that VA sold it to. Well, no, that's not it. Yeah, I forget. I gotta look it up again. VA owns this though, right?
Yeah, I have it right here in my notes. But yes, VA does own it.
Or did they sell it?
Oh well, Veterans United sold it to.
What's our okay? I'm pulling it up too. So.
Actually, servicing. That's the name of the bank. Servicing. That's weird. I guess that's the name of the bank now.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, have you been talking to them? Have you talked to them at all?
Yes, and they said that I could get all the information for the loan and all that, so I had to get my seller to call them, and she got it all worked out.
But you are talking to somebody there.
She is.
Okay. Well, at least you've got open communication. You know, like sometimes it's a nightmare just to get a hold of somebody.
Well, that's my issue. Is she actually? It's in the notes that she has that she's got to do today. She's making it to where they can actually. I can talk to them.
Power of attorney or something.
Yeah.
Is it Jillian Ching? Is that who the seller is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jillian. Yeah. So Jillian bought it. Looks like she's got a 138 VA loan.
Yeah. Well, her payoff was 136.
Yeah, she bought it in 2022. Got a VA loan for 138 is what I'm showing. So yeah, she probably paid a little principal down. And she bought it from an investor, Muma Sa LLC. So anyway, definitely overpaid.
Yeah, she got screwed. Yeah, she got really screwed.
I don't know how VA did this loan.
I don't either. I have no idea. This thing just got thrown on me. Like, we had an agent working on it, and then he decided real estate wasn't for him and just quit, and this got thrown in my lap like 3 weeks ago.
Well,
when I first started talking to you guys, I was like, what the heck is going on?
Well, she's lucky she's got you willing to work on this because, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to be a pain in the ass, but I feel for it, dude. That sucks.
Well, good thing you're double ending it with us, you know, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to help her out for sure so she can move on.
Yeah. Well, you're a good agent. You know, you take the little ones with the big ones, I guess, right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely do. I like the big ones for sure. But
well, we're your buyer. You know, call if you get anything distressed. You know, call Nathan. We'll do our very best to get you a good cash offer.
Yeah, I've got a lot in the works with that. It's just the people are, they don't want to get rid of it because of family, some things of that nature. They're just for so long, but there's a lot of houses that are just straight up shitty. I mean, they need work, and the people who own them, they don't have the money to do it, but they can still get out from under the house.
Yeah, so sit down with them and say, hey, I work with an investor. They can come in here and take it as is, cash, close quickly, get some money in your pocket, and be done with this thing.
I'm good with it.
You know what I mean?
Stop working an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know, they got excited because of 2021.
Oh,
we're still on that train.
Yeah, the sellers, investors reset very quickly, but sellers are much slower to reset the new numbers of the market with expectations.
I'm so used to that. That was the norm for, I guess it was a good 2 years.
Yeah.
Man,
and then also keep in mind too, if someone's upside down, if the terms make sense and we can cash flow it, we can take over loans. Like we'll pay over value if the interest rate's good and we can take over a loan. We do that all the time.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. Yeah, that's good to have a contact that does that, because especially after the hurricane and stuff, people. Oh yeah. Man, I had people blowing their insurance money on trips, didn't fix their house.
Oh yeah.
Their house.
Yeah. We buy a lot of those. They cash in and then they don't want the house. Like we just did a deal where we were like, 30,000. The price we're buying it at was like 30,000 over the actual value, but it made sense because we got in on we got to take over a low rate, and the payment cash flowed with the current rents, and we got enough money. We brought enough cash to the table to pay the agent commissions, closing fees, and put, I think, $5,000 in the seller's pocket on an upside down property. Like you're never going to do that if you don't get creative.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this one doesn't work at all because there's no way you're taking over a 136 payment.
Yeah, that's what we were. That was my first initial thought. Why would we have somebody who's taking the home? And then through my discovery,
How about that? For lunch brought to you. Bet you wish you had that, Truman.
Well, I mean, there's a straight up comp on the street a couple doors down for 97 that just, you know.
It's in better condition.
Oh yeah, it's rent ready. I mean,
When he showed me that, I was like,
yep,
yeah.
yep. I mean, buying it at 70, that's what it'll look like when you're done spending money on it. But so 70 is a fair price. I mean, if you show the bank this comp, it's kind of like, I don't know how you argue this.
Oh yeah. I mean, that mixed with the work that needs to be done. I mean, I see you showing the pictures on the listing. You know.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, yeah, it needs to be left.
Needs everything.
Yeah. So it should be a slam dunk. I don't see why.
Are you there, Nathan?
Okay. I don't know if we need to listen to the end of that. All right. So, guys, questions on this. You have to understand a short sale for this to make sense. And that's why I wanted to jump on there with Nathan. Because the one thing you have to understand here, and Nathan, make sure you understand this, is the steps are we sign a contract with the seller for 70. Now, the seller says, I'll sell it to you, Nathan, for $70,000. But they owe $136,000 to the bank. So now we take that executed contract that the seller said yes to, but it's not up to the seller anymore. It's up to the bank whether they'll accept that $70,000 cash offer. Now the agent's going to go to the bank and present and put in this like short sale. There's like a process that he'll have to follow, but he'll submit that. The bank will go to committee. They'll look at it and they'll say, okay, based on values in the neighborhood and condition of this property, are we willing to short sale this thing for 70 and be done with it instead of going to foreclosure? If they say, no way, we're letting it go for 70, then they have to start foreclosure on the seller, go through that whole process that takes a year, lots of fees, just for it to sell for 70 or less anyway a year from now. So why would the bank take 70 today? Because then they're done with it. They sell it. They don't have to wait. They don't have to go through foreclosure. The property could be in worse condition a year from now, especially if they damage it, or sometimes sellers are disgruntled and they'll do things. So they avoid all of that, which is why a bank would do a short sale. Does that make sense, Nathan? Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? So Nathan's got this. You have a question, Truman?
Yeah, I was wondering, he offered 15-day inspection.
Yeah.
Is 10 just enough?
10's plenty, yeah, because
you wouldn't even want 15?
No, and the reason why, I mean, if they'll give you 15, great, take 15, but 10's more than enough. And the reason why I don't want 15 is because your offer doesn't look that great to a bank if you're asking for a 15-day inspection. Every day of inspection makes your offer less good. Because for a bank, like let's say we waived it and we had no inspection at all, that's going to look a lot better to the bank because you're going to look like a more serious buyer. Well, we can't waive inspection on a short sale because who knows when they're going to approve it. And we need to see what's going on at that point in time. Because it could be months from now. I mean, who knows? I've seen them take a long time. Now, he's pretty convinced he can get it done fast. I don't know why he thinks he can get it done fast, but they are talking to him, the lender. And this was owned by VA, and then VA sold it to an investor, some LLC. So like this could be some kind of group or big investor that buys them in packages, or who knows. So they might be very motivated to dump this and let it go, right? Like that's what it sounds like. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at. So any other questions, guys, on this property? But Nathan, if you get that at 70, that's a deal. Like you've got a 10K, 15K wholesale fee on that one for sure. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to do, Nathan. I want you to pretend like you don't have a deal. Because what happens, here's what wholesalers do. They're like, sweet, I got a deal. I'm going to take tomorrow off. And they stop getting on the phones because they got a deal coming up. And they mentally, they get a little bit comfortable, a little bit complacent, a little bit lazy. This is a short sale. The bank could say no. this is not done. Now, you got everything going for you. Sellers on board, agents on board, but we have no idea if the bank is going to take your 70 offer. I think they will. It's a good offer given the market and comps and value. So there's a good shot, but don't ever assume that that's going to go through. And even when they accept it, you still treat every day like you have no deals. If you can wake up acting like you have no deals and you have to get back on the phones, those are the people that do the best in this business.
I kind of learned that the hard way. I mean, I definitely feel like the inclination to do that when I do get something going. I've noticed that. So it's something I really try to like keep my eyes on. But like when I first started working, I'm like a lead manager, and sometimes leads would come in and I'd talk to him and I'd send the lead to my acquisition manager and he'd like lock it down and I'd be like, oh my gosh, there it is, I'm done. And I'd kind of like chill out a little bit and feel good. And then it wouldn't go through. And I'd be like, crap. And so that kind of has helped me a lot with doing this, to like stay really, really consistent and just always assume like nothing's going to go through until I like get my check. And that's kind of it. And just
now don't make sure you're not negative about it. Like, oh, it's never going to happen. That, but just, you want to jump right back on the phones, because even if that deal goes through, even if it's amazing, even if you make all this money, even if you get a buyer, remember, wholesaling is a pipeline. And the only way this is a sustainable business is if it's consistent. And the only way it's consistent is if you have closings every month. And the only way you have closings every month is if you're on the phones every month, creating your next deal down the pipeline. Right?
Absolutely.
So the kiss of death in a wholesale business is inconsistency. It's you're hot, you're cold, you're on, you're off. You do the phones today, you don't do them tomorrow. Those are the people that are up and down and roller coaster, and they end up they end up quitting because you make some money and then you go 3 months with no deals.
Yeah.
And then you do a deal and then you go a month with no deals. And then you do a deal and then you go 2 months with no deals, right? You want to get to the point where you're doing 3 to 5 deals a month consistently every single month. Once you're doing 3 to 5 consistently, you want to start doing 7 to 10 consistently. Or start going up maybe in margin, but you want to be consistent at this. So that's all. I just want to make sure that you don't coast now because you got this deal.
And then I got that email and I just signed it and sent it back to him. So,
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Nathan, that's a contract, baby. Woo!
Let's feels good.
Guys, that's
it's
cool.
nice because it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually possible, because like sometimes it feels like you're just beating your head up against the wall. And like nothing's ever going to happen, but dang, it feels good.
Do you want to hold this, Nathan?
Yeah. I want it so bad.
Instead, Truman's going to hold it.
Okay.
Now, guys, everybody listening to this, Nathan got that from lowballing an overpriced active. That property was active on the market for like 140 or what is it? What is it listed for?
It's listed for 150.
157, guys. Oh my gosh, 157 on market. You call and you're signing a contract right now for 70. You just don't know what's going to happen in this game. Right? Johnny's over there slapping. You're fired up, right, Johnny? I start slapping yourself. Okay.
See you guys.
I got to get back on the phone. All right. This is what's so fun about this, guys. It's really fun. Okay. Now let's jump to Nathan. I do want to critique some calls that you did. That was just me on the phone with that guy, but you got it all the way there. And that was an awesome agent. Like Nathan worked that agent. That guy's super cool.
Yeah, I know. And what's crazy too is the first time I talked to him, we didn't talk to each other for like a week. And then I reached back out and I was like, hey, dude, what the freak is going on? And he was like, I'm still waiting for stuff from the bank. Hold on. Give me a second. And then he called me today and was like, hey, was your lowball for 90? And I was just like, I don't remember what my lowball was. Let me run numbers again. And he was like, okay, if it's 90, I can sign right now. And then we checked comps. And I was like, ooh, actually, it'd have to be 70. And he was like, okay, yeah, I checked that comp too. That makes sense. We'll go to 70. And so part of me was actually kind of like, dude, maybe I should have gone to like 50 or 40. And he would have still done something.
Totally.
But yeah.
Yeah. But remember, the bank's got to approve it. So the further away from what is owed, the harder it is to get approval. So you're okay. Like you just want to be at the right number. Last thing you want to do is have the bank come back and say yes. And then you're like, actually, that doesn't work. because then you'd have to go back through committee and submittal and all that.
Yeah.
So I think you're okay, and I think that's a easy 10K, 15K wholesale if we can get that like actually approved for 70.
Sweet.
Okay. Yep. Awesome. Okay. Now let's go to Johnny's call. Now this is nuts because maybe. So Johnny's been working with this agent. He called on a listing and this guy was like, yeah, that doesn't work, but let's go take a look at this other property off market. So Johnny went and looked at this other property and the whole thing was weird. It was going down weird. He wouldn't counter. He would tell Jonathan, and we listened to one of these calls. Remember, Johnny? I think that was last week was one of Nick's calls. And he was like, well, let me go back and I'll be in my office. And okay, then he'd come back and he'd say, well, that doesn't work, but go back to the drawing board and give me another offer instead of like countering. So he led on to believe that he was a listing agent and he had these listings. And finally I told Jonathan, I'm like, Jonathan, this guy's screwing around with you. I don't think this guy's a listing agent. I think he's a wholesaler. I think he's trying to wholesale to you like a buyer. And so finally I was like, all right, Jonathan, let me talk to this guy because this is nuts what's going on with this guy. Just stringing you along, telling you, yeah, I think I can get it to you. And then he brought you another deal. The next deal he brought you, he's like, well, I can't get you in the property because there's a tenant and the tenant won't let you in. But he's like, but what's your number? And you make him a number and it's like, well, here's my number, but we got to see it. I don't know what the inside is. This is just like a ballpark number until we get access. And he'd like follow up with you and stuff. So it was just really weird. And so guys, you're going to run into this type of stuff and you're going to need to know how to get to the bottom of it. So I want to share this video just to help you guys understand like how to look at this stuff sometimes and identify what's going on. All right, so let me share my screen. I don't know if we'll listen to this whole thing or not.
Yeah. I mean, are you a wholesaler?
We've done them, yes, but not necessarily every time. So you don't want to be held up with the whole process.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing a wholesale with this one?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
He didn't want to say.
Yeah.
He was like,
So you didn't want to tell us.
you did our
Yeah.
tactic. Sometimes I do wholesales.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Even flexibility on the contract.
I just don't know yet. You know, it's kind of, we kind of decide as we go. Maybe we find a buyer. I need access to being able to go inside the house before it's finalized. You know.
So we don't have a deal if you don't get in there.
Correct. Yeah.
This guy was so annoying.
Yeah, Kevin or
somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
I knew it!
Yeah, you called it.
I knew it! The guy's not an agent. What the crap, dude? Why didn't he just tell us that? Why was he playing agent with us? Because that was the one you called him about or something?
Well, I called him where he was an agent on one.
See, he doesn't even have this deal. The guy doesn't even have this deal.
Yeah.
He's trying to pre-sell it. See, what he's doing is he's getting your number, and he's going back to the seller and trying to get it down lower.
No. Wait, can you guys call it?
You know how hard this is going to be to wholesale it since he's wholesaling
It's not
it
listed.
to us now. We're going to try to wholesale it to someone else. And there's a tenant in there, and we can't get access.
Such a headache,
Freaking-
dude. Such a
This
headache.
guy's like, so you're not going to buy it if you can't get access? No. Who would buy a property in their right mind that's got a tenant in it, and you have no pictures of the inside, and you have no visibility of the inside? Why would we do that? Why would anybody do that? It'd be one thing if we like,
It's backdoor and we go to the seller.
no, we can't backdoor him.
Johnny.
Just don't take that guy serious, that's all. I don't want to get on there and be like, do you actually freaking have this contract with the seller? Why are we talking to you over and over again, about a number? Either you have it under contract and our number works, or it doesn't. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, when I wholesale a property, if I got the contract for 60 and your offer 70, then it's like, yes, and here's my assignment, sign this, and give me some earnest money, or no, that doesn't work. Like, those are your two options. Instead, he's like, okay, let me go back and this and that and this and that. A day goes by and you talk to him again. And like, I think this guy's just full of crap is where I'm thinking. But let's play his game. Let's keep playing the guy's game and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know why he just wouldn't shoot straight with us. Like, there's no benefit to tell a buyer that you're talking to that you're not telling them you're a wholesaler. Like, what benefit is that? Because eventually he's gonna have to send us an assignment, and then we're gonna be like, oh,
wait, pause.
You're wholesaling this to
Pause
me?
it.
And maybe it doesn't matter, right? Because that's what.
So there's no benefit in not telling someone whether or not you're a wholesaler or not, but we don't tell them we're wholesalers all the time.
No, a buyer.
So if he's the one, if we were giving it to somebody, we would let them know that we are signing.
Yes.
But if we were, okay, so that's like us going to a seller, that's like us going to a buyer when we have a wholesale deal and then not telling them we have a wholesale deal.
Yeah, so when you're talking to a seller, not as much, because you're signing the contract as the buyer, or an agent. You're signing the contract as the buyer and then assigning it. But when you take the wholesale deal to a buyer, there's no benefit in telling the buyer that you're not a wholesaler. What benefit is there in not telling that?
I wonder what he's thinking.
I don't know what he's thinking, because let's say you're talking to your buyer and you're pretending like you're an agent. If at some point you're going to have to send them an assignment, and then they're going to be like, oh, you're a wholesaler? Why didn't you just tell me that? It just, all it does is it creates mistrust because they didn't tell you that.
Yeah. Come on, Nick.
Does that make sense?
Shout out, Nick.
Shout out, Nick. Trash talking to me. Nick, if you see this.
Well, hopefully he learned something.
Nick, I still want to do deals. Don't.
Let's listen to the rest.
Don't we jump on the phone with them?
Yeah, skip ahead.
When do I jump on the phone with this guy?
Hey guys, I gotta go.
This is just us chatting.
Okay, this is you and me bantering about this guy, but I think we jump on the phone with him.
I have to call someone right. I told someone I'd call him right now.
Good, how are you?
Good. So Johnny's been taking the lead on this one. I'm just a little confused as to what's going on here.
Watch this. Drills him.
So I understand you're wholesaling. That's fine. We buy from wholesalers. We wholesale sometimes too. I just need to know what's going on so I know what I'm up against. I mean, do you have the contract yet with the seller?
Yes.
Okay, so you have an executed contract with the seller, and you're looking to assign it to us for cash.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you!
Exposed!
Jeez!
But we have a problem here because we can't get in this property, and that's going to be a problem because I got no visibility on the inside, and prior to closing, I'm going to need to be able to get in there so I can know what's going on, get bids and contractors. I don't want to buy it and then not know what I'm buying. I can't do that. I got to know what I'm buying. And two, I don't know if I want to keep this guy, and I'm not going to know if I want to keep this guy until I get my head around what kind of tenant this is. And I might want to flip this, so I might be asking him to leave anyway. And if he's not cooperative, what I don't want to...
All right, let's stop it there. I think you get the point, though, right?
Come on, Nick. You got this.
Okay, so any takeaways there? Like, what are you guys learning from this? What are you guys thinking?
It's a pain. It's a pain when they're not honest with you about their intentions.
Yeah.
So does he actually have a contract?
He says he does.
He says he does.
Yeah.
He says he does.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and trust my agent. Maybe he says he's got it.
And this is the second one where he's messed around.
Would there be room to wholesale it from that? Or no?
Well, I end up saying to him, I say, look, we may end up wholesaling this.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to be messy by doing like an assignment of an assignment. What do you think if we just JV? If I bring a buyer, what do you think if we just JV? And he's like, yeah, okay. And it was like, oh my gosh, we could have skipped all this drama up until now and just got right to it, and said, oh, you're a wholesaler? Okay, great. Would you want a JV? We know some buyers. Clearly you're looking for a buyer, So this just goes around. I think, guys, everybody listening to this and you guys, just be transparent, think about what we're doing, have really high integrity, be clear about things. Like with a listing agent, I've got no problem telling a listing agent, yeah, we might assign this project. We work with other investors.
I was thinking, I kept on saying stuff like, I got the funds, I've done deals before, but now I feel like I would just be more like, look, I'm new to this, man.
I wouldn't be afraid of that. I wouldn't be ashamed of that or afraid of that. I wouldn't worry about that.
I'm new to this. This is kind of scary for me.
I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe not be too transparent, just a little transparent.
I'm kind of terrified right now.
Hey, Dad, I just had I had a really, really terrible call with an agent that it finally just uploaded to the drive. I don't know if we have time, but I'm really curious what your takeaway from that would be, because it was freaking terrible.
It was awful. Where's your
worst agent ever?
Where's your drive folder? Do I have it?
Yeah, I just shared it with you. It's called Agent Calls.
On you do?
On Google Drive. Yeah.
Did you email it to me?
Yeah, I did. I shared it.
Oh yeah, here it is.
I'm actually terrified.
Are you doing a call right now?
She called me at 5:30 while you were talking about Nathan's deal, and I told her I can call her back in 30 minutes. She hasn't responded to that, so I could try and call her.
Just text her and say, "Can I call you in a minute?" Okay, hold on, Nathan. I'm going to pull you up.
Okay.
Ooh, it's hot in there. All right, enough later.
All right, Nate, we're going to pull yours up.
Dad, what if someone actually made a fan out of money? Like staple lovely? Imagine. Chad?
They answer this right.
Hey, we can't hear it over here.
Oh, that's okay. Hold on a second then. I got to do it this way, which is so annoying.
Live stream, and I was like, all right, can you guys just figure out all the comps and stuff for me?
It's still downloading, Nathan. It's almost there. Give me a second. Okay, now give us some context here, Nathan. What's this?
Basically, it was just me going in for a low ball. The dude, it was in an area I haven't called in before, Lynn Haven. It's like a little bit of a richer area, I think. I've actually seen this agent on like multiple listings. I've been really hesitant to call the listings just because this guy was so like hard to work with. I think he had some grudges against investors and stuff like that. I'm not really sure because he just wouldn't tell me anything. He wouldn't like be open about anything. So I'm just curious the best way to navigate those types of agents. Maybe he had a bad experience with an investor and he just thinks we're all a bunch of, I don't know, turds or something. But I don't know. That's why I wanted you to see it, because I'm just really curious, like if you could still make that a productive connection with an agent, even if they're being that hard to work with.
Good. Okay. Yes. I want to listen to this. So it's almost done downloading. I'll pull it up. But yeah, I'm glad you're willing to share these ones too, because everybody runs into these. And remember, no two agents are created the same. Some are cool, some aren't cool. And so you got to be able to navigate through that, because you just never know what you're going to get from that agent. And sellers are the same way. When we move over to direct to seller, we're going to have the same thing. People friendly, people rude. And so how do you adjust on the fly? How do you make changes? One thing that you want to think about is a technique called mirroring. Mirroring is where you match their energy, their tone, their personality. So if they're short and rude, then you tend to be short and rude. If they're nice and friendly, you be nice and friendly. If they're impatient, then you get right to it. You know what I mean?
Is that the Chris Voss stuff? Is that where that comes from? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So let's pull it downloaded now. So I'm going to pull you up. Okay. It took a minute to get on there. Here we go.
Hey there, Roy. This is Nate. I'm a home investor. I just barely texted you about a property I've listed on Sunburst Lane. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, do you have a second that I could talk to you and get some details about the property? Perfect. Yeah, so you just barely listed it like a few hours ago or something, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so in terms of the condition of the property, I mean, it looks pretty good in terms of its bones and everything.
Yeah, here's the deal, man. I'm gonna take it straight with the property.
Okay.
It comes with 2 lots. It comes with one that's almost a half acre, and then just because there's another lot next door they own that's a quarter acre, they decide to throw it in. So it's gonna come with both lots. That's where you come up with the total where I've got listed for the property. So you're at 0.80 of an acre. I mean, you're almost at an acre.
Okay.
It comes with some yard buildings. It's really a cool lot. It's a corner lot, and it goes all the way in.
Hey, Dad.
Great for
Yeah.
all kinds of things. Now there's a manufactured home on there.
Let me pause it.
Okay, I made a bunch of calls this day, so that's actually not the one of the bad realtor. That one's a good
Oh, okay. I was like, what's going bad here?
I know. I just figured that out. I was like, this doesn't seem like the guy. This doesn't sound like him. And then I realized it was the wrong one.
Like that's your worst, Nathan. You're doing okay.
Okay.
Find me the bad one though, and let's do it.
I just found it and I'm uploading it now, but it takes forever to upload, so we might have to do it next week.
Yeah, and we're sort of out of time. But you guys listening right now, leave a chat if you like to hear the bad ones too, because you learn a lot from what goes wrong too. Hopefully, like learn from it. And I'm happy to. I mean, that's honestly where you're going to learn the most. Anybody can have a super awesome, nice agent, that's over backwards to help you. It's when they're not that way that you got to deal with. Okay. So guys, we're over time now. What's the plan this week?
Hit my quota.
Get back on those phones. Keep going. I think you guys are all super close.
Yeah.
I know.
You guys are all super close. This week's going to be pivotal because you're putting in the time. So now the universe is going to start to reward you, right? Like you're paying your dues. You're hitting your calls.
This is the 4th week, right?
This is, I think, technically the 4th week. I think this is the 4th week. So remember,
I feel like I feel some momentum now.
Yeah, I do too. I feel it. You guys feel it?
Yeah, I was getting like barely any off-market properties, but now I get like at least 5. Like at least 5 a week.
Like I'm getting a lot of off market.
Yeah.
And
Check
like now, the first 2 weeks I wasn't able to do follow-ups. But then this week I was able to do like all of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up like crazy. Those are where the money are.
The money's in the follow-ups, because you make these great connections, you have these great calls, you hang up the phone, and then they forget about you. So that follow-up is almost as valuable as a new call, because always think to yourself, if this agent got this distressed listing that I called on, and they're active full-time agents, what do you think they're doing every day? They're sitting down with sellers. They're out on appointments. They're trying to get listings. And for sure, they're going to get another distressed property. If they got one, they'll probably get another. And so your follow-up is where you're going to just, all of a sudden now you're going to time things right because you're doing them consistently. And then they're going to start being like, oh yeah, I'm glad you called me. I got this listing today when I was on appointment. Take a look. Like that's going to start to happen. Or just like you guys all have had, every single one of you guys have had where the agent's like, oh yeah, that doesn't work, but I got this other one coming up in 3 weeks. Go take a look at this one.
Yeah, a lot of the agents that the call ended like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I'll keep you in mind for sure. And then I call them back like 2 weeks later, and then like they don't remember me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So,
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, why would that not happen? Because you would think that they would, if agents ran their agent business like we run our wholesale business, they would crush it because we follow up, we save, we create a CRM, you know what I mean? And they don't. They're notorious for not really doing that.
My least favorite thing to hear is, oh, if I could get it at that price, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd wholesale it.
Yeah.
Or I'd sure, buddy.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Guys, keep up the good work, you guys. Make sure that you're following along as well, doing your assignments, right? If you guys are doing this from home, then do the same thing that Truman and Johnny, Nathan and Jared are doing. Follow that PDF, get your calls in, get your tools lined up, make sure you're putting in the reps, and you'll get a deal. And I feel you guys are close. I think this next week is going to be a big week. And let's get out there and do it. What'd you take the rubber band off for?
I was playing around with it.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see